El año pasado tuvimos algunos de estos videos y estábamos hablando de un libro que tú escribiste que se llamaba Fielmente Diferentes. En inglés es Faithfully Different. En ese libro tú hablas de cómo hay ciertas cosas que nos identifican a nosotros como cristianos y nos diferencian del resto de la cultura porque nosotros a final de cuentas seguimos a Dios. Entonces sabemos que el ser cristiano no es lo mismo a ser una persona más de la cultura, pero tampoco la idea es ser personas pesadas o tampoco ser personas, dirían en algunos países, un cretino o algo así. Entonces, ¿cómo podemos establecer la diferencia entre las dos y dónde sabemos que está ese punto donde estamos haciendo las cosas bien?
Well, Christians often say, speak the truth in love. And that's the answer to the question. But a lot of times we kind of treat it as a mantra, like something that we hear so often that we don't think enough about. That when we're speaking truth, the whole reason that we're speaking truth is out of our love for God to do what he's called us to, and of our love for others, because Jesus told us these are the two greatest commandments: to love God, number one, and love others. So when we're speaking truth, it's for the purpose of loving people. And so if we lose sight of the motivation and we just want to be right, we just want to win, we just want to be the ones that know what's true, then we can sometimes be jerks. We can be little jerks. We can be big jerks. A lot of times it can turn into something very different than what the Bible actually wants it to be, what God is calling us to. So we have to always have our motivation in mind. Am I saying this out of love for others? And I always try to ask myself these questions. Before you speak, I mean, no one is pure as the driven snow in terms of their motivations for things. All of us can get caught in the wrong motivations. So every time you speak out, whether it's on social media or it's in person, it's in writing, however you're doing it, when you're sharing truth with people, make sure you ask yourself, what is my motivation for saying something right now? Now that I've identified my motivation, is the way that I am delivering this truth a way in which this person can receive it, knowing that I love them? Now, there's a difference there in knowing that I am doing that in a gracious, loving way and the person liking what I'm saying. You can be a Christian who has asked yourself, why am I doing this? You're doing it out of love. You can say this truth in the most loving, gracious way, and people can still hate you for it. So you have to understand as a Christian in today's world, where the world hates you, that even when you do those things well, it doesn't mean that somebody's going to say, oh, wow, I'm so glad that you shared this truth with me. We have to adjust our expectations. So when somebody is upset with you, do some self-reflection. Say, is it because of the way I delivered this? Was my motivation wrong? Did that affect the tone? Do self-reflection. We always should do that. But also understand that because the message itself is offensive, when you're telling people the gospel message that they cannot save themselves, that there is an authority beyond them, they're not their own boss, that's offensive to people. People aren't going to like it. And sometimes they shoot the messenger. Sometimes they don't like you because of what you've said. So always take time for self-reflection, but understand that the culture's response to you or an individual's response to you may not reflect whether or not you've been a jerk about it. Sometimes, a lot of times, they just don't like the message.